This video is sponsored by Infinix. What's going on, guys? It's UrAvgConsumer, and today we're going to be checking out this guy right here, the Infinix Note 12. Now, we actually started checking out some more inexpensive phones on the channel with the Infinix 11 Pro, so we're going to be continuing that trend and checking out a phone that only costs $200. So we're going to see everything that this thing has to offer. But first, let's check out what you get in the box. So we got some pretty standard packaging here. It says Infinix Note 12. In the back, you can see all the specs powering this guy, but what we want is inside. So the first thing we're greeted by is the phone, which we'll check out a little bit later, but then we're greeted with a few other accessories. First, of course, being the SIM ejector tool, as well as some extra paperwork, and fool me once, but we've got this promotional dollar here with a little bit of extra information about some of their services. But as always, I'm always surprised when we see an included case. I don't know why other manufacturers aren't doing this. These inexpensive phones are able to do it. I want to see this more often. But once you get past that, you of course get the charging brick as well as the USB-C to A cable, so you can charge this guy up. This is a 33-watt charger, so you should be able to get some fast charging here. But now let's take the plastic wrap off the phone. So here we've got the Infinix Note 12. We've got it in the snowfall color. I believe it also comes in forest black and sapphire blue. Snowfall actually looks really good in person, so let's take a look at it. So here we have it, you guys. This is the Infinix Note 12 in the snowfall color. You probably can't see it on camera right now, but when you throw this thing into the sun, you can see that it's got like this nice sparkly effect. It's got this prism look going for it. And right next to the camera cutout, you got this little patch that's a bit different than the rest. But overall, I like it. I like the shimmer that it's got to it. I think it looks pretty good. Now, when we're talking about a $200 phone, the next question is gonna be, what exactly are you getting for the money? What are the specs like? So let's talk about it. So what we've got right here is a 6.7-inch AMOLED display. It's got a 1080 by 2400 resolution, so that full HD plus. It's got the Helio G96 processor. It also comes with 8 gigs of RAM, which is also expandable because of the fast storage that's included. So I believe you can add an extra 5 gigs of RAM. Now this also comes in 2 storage capacities, 128 gigs, which is the $200 model. And you also have a 256, which is $219. So you pay 20 bucks for twice the storage. Carl, shouldn't that be the case for like all smartphones? Oh, double storage, $20. No big deal. Not an extra $100. It's ridiculous, but this does it right. We're also working with a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, which is actually pretty surprising considering the weight and the overall size. It's not a really thick phone. It also comes with that 33-watt charger, so you should get some fast charging with this guy, even with the big capacity. You also have features that you come to expect from a smartphone, like face unlock. You also have a fingerprint scanner on the power button, which is the way it should be. Now, in terms of cameras, we're looking at a 16 megapixel selfie cam, and in the back, we've got a 50 megapixel camera, as well as a 2 megapixel depth camera. And it's even got a 1.6 aperture, so that's pretty wide. Should be able to get a lot of light in. We'll take a couple photos, see how it does. And not to mention, we've also got a headphone jack at the bottom. Can you explain to me, Carl, why they have the space for a headphone jack, but no other phone does these days?
We don't use them, I don't blame them.
What?
We don't use
Blasphemy. You keep your AirPods over there, man.
I use the headphone jack.
Blasphemy. But still, it's good that the option is here for those who use it. But now there's a few things I want to do with this to see how it performs for like the average person. So from a software perspective, this thing is running Android 12, and it's also running its own custom OS, the XOS 10.6. And from what I've seen so far, it's running pretty smoothly. Now, you guys know me. There's a few things I need to test, some gaming, but first we'll check out some YouTube content. I gotta say, I mean, the content looks really good. This is actually really bright. Honestly, Apex looks really good to me, but the real test is watching my own content, right? I feel like that's how you really know. From a screen quality perspective, I mean, you guys can kind of see this thing looks great. The colors definitely pop, which I'm always a fan of. And we got some pretty decently loud speakers too. So I'm really happy with the way our content looks, but let's listen to some music really quickly too. Okay, so like we're listening to some lo-fi. Speakers are pretty solid on this as well. Okay, so we got some pretty solid speakers, but I feel like the real strong point here is this is a really, really good looking display. But now we gotta play some Sonic. We gotta see how it handles some gaming. Now, I've done this too many times where I try to talk and game at the same time. It just doesn't work. I'm gonna play a few games. I'm gonna let you guys know what I think. If I lose, don't buy this. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I won, so go ahead, guys. Best phone ever. No, I'm just joking. They handled this game with no problem. This is usually my benchmark to see how a phone handles just a really fast-paced game with a lot of visuals on the screen. And it was nothing. It handled it just fine, which I always like to see because there are some flagship level phones that this game has made crawl. And I'm actually happy to see that gaming works well on this phone because the processor is actually called MediaTek Helio G96 Ultra Gaming Processor. So with a name like that, it better perform like this. All right, so I'm gonna play a few more rounds because you know, we gotta be thorough in our tests. Yes, Carl, first place always, man. This is what I do. But this honestly says a lot to me because if it can handle this level of gaming, which is usually the most demanding task that you'll put on your smartphone, I feel like there's not gonna be too much that this thing won't be able to handle from an average consumer's perspective. If you keep the fact that this is $200 in your mind, it's really impressive. So now what we're gonna do is check out the camera. This is usually where most smartphones in this price range suffer the most. So let's see where this stands. Carl, coming for a shot. Background's kind of messy, but it's all good. Can you move the camera real quick, Carl? Like just act like you're taking a picture. Okay, all right, dramatic. I'm actually really surprised, Carl. Look at this. It handles colors really well. It's not super blown out in the background, even though there's a huge light over there. Usually exposure is a big issue with these inexpensive phones, but it's actually doing a pretty good job. Now, is it sharp? Is there a lot of detail? It's decently sharp. So for the subject, the charm, pretty sharp. But I think that's where the main focus is. I think, oh, that makes sense. It's a 1.6 aperture, so that it's got a really shallow depth of field. All right, so last thing, this is like the real test. Throw a selfie in there. So the colors here are a little flat. Can definitely just change that with adding some saturation. This is actually kind of nuts to me. I'm not saying it's the best camera in the world or anything, you guys, but I've seen some pretty bad cameras in this price range, and I'm actually pretty happy with what I'm seeing. It's impressive. It's impressive for 200 bucks. I think you keep that in mind, and this is actually a really, really solid option. But that's about it. I just want to do a quick unboxing, give you guys my first impressions on a phone that's only 200 bucks, the Note 12 by Infinix. It's not bad. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, and you guys want to see me cover some other inexpensive phones, leave a comment down below. Let me know which phones you guys want to check out. I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Till then, it's your average consumer. Peace. I'm sweating, man. It's hot in here, you guys. Whew.